If you're thinking about buying an investment property, or maybe you're thinking about just expanding your current portfolio, there's definitely a lot of places, a lot of cities in different markets where you can purchase a home. Today, I want to talk to you about why I think Northern Virginia is a great place to buy an investment property. So stay tuned. My name is Sue Richey, and I am the principal broker of Richey Property Management in Northern Virginia. And I've lived in Northern Virginia pretty much my entire adult life since I got out of college. My husband, who is a co-owner of our company, he pretty much grew up here his entire life, and we know this area very well. We've been selling real estate here for 23 years. We've also been investing in rental properties ourselves in Northern Virginia since about 2006, and we've been managing other people's rental properties as well. And today we manage a portfolio of about 700 properties. And these landlords are believers that this is a good area to own a rental property, and they've seen it firsthand. Today I'm actually in Toronto on a work trip. I'm at an entrepreneur coaching workshop, and when I look around Toronto, it's kind of interesting because there's so much development going on. A little different than what's going on in DC, but it was a video that I had wanted to make, so I was like, okay, I'm here. This is it made me think about what a good area we have, so that's what I want to talk about today. So let's get to it. Okay, so today I've got 6 reasons to share with you why I think Northern Virginia is a great place to own a rental property. There's more reasons than that, but these are my top 6. First of all, large companies are expanding here. There were some talk about Amazon moving its headquarters to Arlington, Virginia a while back, and it created this frenzy. 25,000 new jobs are coming here. But Amazon isn't the only one. There are so many other companies that are either relocating here, moving their headquarters here. For example, Raytheon announced in 2018 that they're going to be calling Virginia home and moving its global headquarters here from Massachusetts to Arlington. Boeing is another one that has its presence in Arlington and said that the Arlington campus is now going to serve as its global headquarters. Other companies such as Gerber relocated here from New Jersey in 2018, and on the tech side, there's a ton of other companies bringing jobs to the area. You can check out this chart for a quick summary of some of the jobs that are coming here according to the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. Another big employer and highlight in this area was the completion of Capital One's 31-story headquarters here in Tyson's Corner. But what does all this relocation of these companies to Northern Virginia mean for landlords? It means that people are coming here. People who are working here that are coming for these jobs aren't necessarily going to buy a home, and they still need somewhere to live. So they're most likely going to rent. They may be on a contract, or maybe they're coming here for a few years and they know that they're going to go back to wherever they came from. But in the meantime, again, they need somewhere to live. So when you're thinking about renting, the demand is just going to continue to increase. It's always been in demand in Northern Virginia, but with more and more companies coming here, more workers coming here, there's definitely going to be a need for more rental housing. Okay, number 2 is the federal government. The federal government really protects and boosts up the economy in Northern Virginia. And according to a report by the Northern Virginia Regional Commission, Northern Virginia would rank second only to the state of California in terms of the federal procurement dollars that it's received over the past 5 years. Now, this article that I'm referring to was written in 2015, but I can only believe that that number has continued to increase over the years. And according to this article, from 2010 to 2014, the federal government spent more than $295 billion in Northern Virginia purchasing products from the private sector. Now, you compare that to what the government spends in other states. This article said that about 1 out of every $8.50 spent goes to Northern Virginia. What this means for landlords, there is some kind of protection and stability in this region in terms of jobs. So if you have tenants, you can be pretty sure that they're going to be able to keep their jobs. There's going to be a steady stream of jobs provided by the government, and they're going to continue to spend money. There's no doubt the government will always spend money, and a lot of that money gets spent here in Northern Virginia. Okay, number 3 reason to invest in Northern Virginia, that we are in an appreciation market. As I mentioned earlier, there are a couple of different kinds of markets where you can invest depending on what you're your goals are. One is a cash flow market. Generally, those markets are lower dollar, housing prices are less, and you can buy a property pretty easily and with less money down. And with that, you can probably realize some kind of cash flow. But generally speaking, those markets don't appreciate as much over the same 10 years. Let's say if you invested in a market that was different and more of an appreciation market like Northern Virginia is. If you did that, you would see a lot more equity built up in your home in an appreciation market. Cash flow may or may not be there depending on how much money you put down, but the value of your home should be drastically different. If you're only able to put down, let's say 20%, it's unlikely in Northern Virginia that you're going to see some positive cash flow because the rents aren't quite that high. But unless you get a really smoking deal, but someone who's looking to diversify and maybe take some money out of the stock market, or maybe you have some cash and you're trying to figure out what you do, you don't want to put it in the market or other kinds of investments, real estate's a great place to put it. You could put down a few $100,000 into a property, you'll be able to probably realize some cash flow, and you'll definitely have the benefit of good long-term appreciation. So if you're looking for a good long-term investment plan, then Virginia is a great place to just do that and make your money on the equity that you build up in your home. And once you do build up some equity, so there's some really good strategies to take that equity out of your home and use it to buy more and more real estate. But we'll talk about that more in a different video. Okay, number 4, the Northern Virginia area is a very affluent area. The DC area, the DC region in general, and Northern Virginia is a highly educated area, very affluent. We have great school systems, an abundance of higher education, great opportunities, and that ensures that we are going to have a big sustainable talent pipeline. Incomes are higher than the national average in our area. And yes, housing is more expensive, but with high earners, that means that people have money. And generally speaking, we don't see tenants not being able to pay rent. They have steady jobs with good companies, they make good tenants. So being an affluent area really gives landlords the benefit and the stability of good quality tenants. Okay, and number 5, we are a transient area. So the DC area has always been highly transient. People are always coming and going. We've got a lot of military, a lot of diplomats, foreign service people. They're always coming in and out of Washington, corporate executives, you name it. Because we have this large pool of people means that you're always going to have highly qualified tenants, like I just talked about. Many of these people won't necessarily buy homes because they're only here for a short period of time. The negative to a transient area is that it could mean you have higher turnover costs because people aren't going to stay for extended periods of time. But you definitely shouldn't have a shortage of tenants either. In smaller cities where people rent for way longer than average, you might have a tenant stay for 5-10 years. But when that tenant does turn over, it could be more difficult to find a replacement tenant, and generally the rents are going to be lower. So from that standpoint, we think the transient nature of this is definitely good for landlords because it gives you always a good pool of potential tenants to pick when renting out your property. Okay, and lastly, number 6 is the housing shortage. In Northern Virginia, we definitely have a housing shortage. There are other markets in the country for sure where you can buy homes for significantly less money, like I just said, and there are areas where there's still a lot of land and there's still a lot of development going on. With a high supply of homes, you don't see the kind of appreciation that you do in a market where land and inventory is very limited. Northern Virginia is definitely an area where demand for housing exceeds the supply. This is what has been driving the prices up over the last couple of years, is because of this imbalance in supply and demand. But that is changing now as interest rates have gone up and buyers are definitely getting priced out of the market and are being forced to rent for much longer than they had hoped for. So there is some development going on, but it's way outside of the city and not everyone wants to live there. So that's kind of a limited group of people who might be buying those homes closer into the city, and you're looking at tear downs and rebuilds. It's not enough supply. So we've seen the developments of apartment buildings, luxury apartment buildings. Lots of those rents are really expensive and not everyone can afford to live there. Not everyone wants to live there. So there's still an inventory problem going on here. So for you as a landlord, you can have a home that you can rent out. You've got a good pool of tenants. You have pretty much a win-win for both you and a tenant. So if you own a rental property in Northern Virginia, love to hear about your experience. If you are someone who's in the area and you are looking for a property, definitely give us a call. We know what's going on the sales side. We know what's going on with rents. We know good areas to purchase. But again, it has to meet your goals. So think about what that is. And if we can help you in any way, we're absolutely happy to do so. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.